There is a hidden gear engraved in the most secret center of your consciousness that shapes your physiology, governs your relationships, and defines the circulation of your resources without you realizing it. The overwhelming majority of people spend their entire existence trying to correct life's setbacks through physical exhaustion, muscular overload, and a frantic search for answers in the outer world. They multiply their hours of effort, accumulate crushing tension in their shoulders, and cry in silence when the darkness of the room finally embraces them. Yet, upon opening their eyes to each new dawn, they find strictly the same blocks, the same anguish, and the same feeling of helplessness in their chest. The cruel and silent error was never in your lack of character, nor in your genuine desire to live in peace. The error lies in the indisputable fact that you have been trying to fix your reality on the totally wrong plane. Your conscious mind acts merely as a small surface of your being, while your subconscious mind is the infinite ocean where your life is drawn and materialized before taking body and weight in the world of the senses. If your psychic structure is misaligned from the creative source, no manual effort in the physical world will be able to sustain you for long. When you approach the future driven by terror of lack, uncertainty, or accumulated resentment, your secret emotion is not one of restoration. It is one of absolute terror. And your subconscious, which acts as a mathematical, impersonal, and neutral law, does not analyze whether that thought causes you to suffer or fall ill. It captures the real frequency dwelling in the depths of your being and accepts it as a supreme instruction of command. The more you despair to resolve a conflict using the force of your analytical intellect, the more the deep mind interprets that terror and multiplies the reasons for your ruin. It is the devastating law of reversed effort, operating silently to perpetuate your bonds. Why do you continue accepting the crumbs of fatigue and despair when the very presence sustaining the cosmos dwells in the center of your chest? Your subconscious is a plastic and living matrix. It reacts solely and exclusively to the vibrational pattern with which you feed your soul in moments of rest. As long as you continue looking at the problems of the material world and allowing external disorder to dictate your faith, you will remain imprisoned in the same chains of limitation. To understand the overwhelming force of this internal harmonization and the way it alters matter inevitably, consider the real case of Oliver Sterling in 1951 in the city of Philadelphia. Oliver was a 46-year-old mechanical engineer who found himself in a spiral of nervous breakdown and impending bankruptcy due to chronic litigation involving his small electrical components factory. Every night, as he sat at his worn desk in the factory office, the air smelled of old mineral oil, tobacco smoke, and the dust accumulated on stacked boxes of parts. Oliver's chest contracted in an unbearable physical tightness. His hands trembled as he handled the collection notices under the yellowish light of the lamp, and a painful stiffness in his neck prevented him from falling asleep. He spent hours of the early morning bending his knees on the cold hardwood floorboard, begging in tears for the Creator to intervene and save his name from public shame. However, in the exact millisecond he stood up from the floor, the feeling governing his soul was the absolute certainty of defeat and impending shame. Oliver used all his conscious strength to cry out for help, but breathed, felt, and slept on the frequency of total collapse. As the subconscious mind is a neutral soil that faithfully multiplies the seed of the dominant feeling, Oliver's life sank into new lawsuits, cancellation of orders, and a terrifying financial isolation. His desperate prayer was, in reality, a vehement decree of destruction. His own mind was the invisible barrier keeping all doors of restoration locked under key. The definitive turning point only occurred when Oliver understood the hidden structure of his deep mind and realized the trap in which he had imprisoned himself. He discovered that the subconscious does not respond to words of supplication uttered in terror, but rather to the subjective alignment with peace already realized. By abandoning the habit of reliving legal battles and beginning to practice the silent harmonization of his mind with infinite intelligence for 21 consecutive days before a door measure, the energy surrounding his path underwent a complete revolution. His main opponent in court approached him completely unexpectedly, proposing an amicable settlement, ending the litigation that had haunted him for years and restoring him to perfect health. Diga isso em voz alta, ou repita em silêncio no seu coração. My subconscious harmonizes now with divine intelligence and restores my peace. What took place in Oliver Sterling's journey was not a fortuitous event, nor a special favor granted by circumstances. It was the precise and rigorous application of what we call here on the channel the Code of Primordial Harmony. This exclusive concept reveals an eternal truth. Your material reality will never deliver to you the restoration you demand on the outside. It will deliver solely and exclusively the order and clarity you feel to be your truth on the inside. The peace of God is the natural state of your soul. Your only role is to deactivate the noises of doubt and allow that light to shine again. The vast majority of men and women spend their entire existence trying to change the image reflected in the mirror of life through brute force. They change environments, accumulate sterile arguments, sever relationships with bitterness, and work to the limit of biological exhaustion. Yet, they continue carrying the same internal frequency of fear, rejection, and smallness. As long as your mental station is tuned to the channel of conflict, all the solutions in the world will pass before your eyes without you being able to see them. It is for this exact reason that I invite you to walk with me daily on this journey of transformation and enlightenment. Be with me every day here on the Subconscious Code channel. Follow these simple steps with discipline and watch your own life unlock and your reality transform as you reprogram your deep mind. When you alter your internal frequency in the silence of your soul, the external world has no choice but to bow to the new pattern you established. Your external reality is merely the exact photographic projection of the state of consciousness you cultivate in your intimacy. There is no power in the universe punishing you with pain, scarcity, or disease. What exists is your own subconscious mind, executing with mathematical perfection the thought mode you deliver to it every day. Diga isso em voz alta, ou repita em silêncio no seu coração. Infinite intelligence is my source and restores my inner power now. Reflect with deep gravity upon how you have been feeding your inner temple in your hours of pause. What is the narrative your mind repeats at the instant you close your eyes to rest? If your consciousness occupies itself with reproducing images of hurt, overdue bills, and uncertainties about the future, understand that you are manually pulling the lever of your own stagnation. Deactivate now this compulsive need to fight life through blind rushing and suffering. Allow the serenity of the Supreme Mind to occupy the space where the storm of your anxiety once reigned. The moment you adjust your mind to peace and to the certainty of divine restoration, the invisible barriers that seemed insurmountable dissolve into thin air, revealing the health and unlimited power that have always been waiting for you. The hidden mechanics governing your deep mind knows no rest, intellectual breaks, or moral divergences. It operates under the absolute and inflexible authority of the supreme pillar of spiritual restoration. The infinite intelligence that designed every organ of your body and architected every cell of your structure is the same living presence capable of rebuilding your existence completely. It does not demand painful sacrifices nor rational debates. It demands solely your internal alignment. The great tragedy of modern man is living imprisoned in the error of trying to transform matter using solely the limited resources of the physical world. People try to heal their relationships, restore their health, or recover their financial power through despair, brute force, and an anxiety that consumes their days. They do not realize they are trying to erase the image projected on the screen without ever touching the film roll running inside the projector. Your subconscious is the creative matrix of all forms. It is the psychic mold where the creator's energy is compacted before manifesting to your senses. To understand this truth in a crystalline and unquestionable manner, contemplate the metaphor of the soil and the seed. Your subconscious mind functions exactly like the black, fertile soil of a virgin land. While your conscious mind acts as the farmer tasked with choosing and planting the seed, the soil possesses no analytical judgment. It asks no questions about the morality of the farmer, does not question the origin of the grain, and never discriminates against the tree it will nourish. If you deposit in the earth the seed of a majestic oak that will bring shade and opulence for generations, The soil welcomes that idea with submission and mobilizes the hidden nutrients of the universe to raise that structure on the surface. But if you deposit in the soil the seed of a toxic, thorny, and destructive plant, the soil will welcome that seed with the exact same mathematical fidelity, using the same living energy to germinate the poison before your eyes. The overwhelming majority of humanity spends its days fertilizing the deep mind with seeds of pain, injustice, and incapacity. Upon commenting on their past losses, reliving old treasons, and feeling tightness in their chest before uncertainty, they are driving seeds of destruction into the sacred soil of divine intelligence. And when the inevitable harvest brings more ruin and more suffering, they accuse life and cry in despair, without realizing that the subconscious soil merely fulfilled its role of multiplying the seed delivered to it. Diga isso em voz alta, ou repita em silêncio no seu coração. My subconscious welcomes only seeds of life and restoration. Consider now the metaphor of the captain on the bridge of an ocean liner in the middle of the sea. Your conscious mind is the captain remaining on the surface, observing the horizon and issuing direct orders via the engine order telegraph. Your subconscious mind represents the crew of engineers and stokers installed in the depths of the ship inside the engine room. The men working down there do not see the ocean, do not evaluate storms, and have no permission to question the captain's charts. If the captain, seized by a surge of panic or emotional blindness, issues a direct order to turn the rudder toward the rocks and accelerate the engines to the maximum, the sailors in the engine room will simply obey without hesitating. They will move the levers with precision, and the ship will be dashed against the stones. For years, you have acted as a blind and fearful captain on the bridge of your own existence. You have sent orders of helplessness, bankruptcy, and disease down to the engine room of your subconscious, and your invisible crew has fulfilled those orders with terrifying precision. There is another subtle obstacle keeping people imprisoned in the captivity of stagnation: the urgent need to deconstruct one of the greatest limiting beliefs of humanity, the false idea that suffering, disease, or financial collapse are blessed trials sent by God to test your dignity. This is one of the greatest untruths ever accepted by human consciousness. The Bible, decoded psychologically by thinkers like Thomas Troward and Ralph Waldo Emerson, reveals that supreme life is harmony, perfection, and constant expansion. Spiritual restoration is not a divine favor granted to a chosen few. It is the application of a universal law. When you cleanse your subjective structure of the residue of resentment, envy, and smallness, the one substance circulates once again in your experience with the force of a mighty river that has broken its dams. The healing power already dwells within you, awaiting only your clear and pacified command. Diga isso em voz alta, ou repita em silêncio no seu coração. The healing presence renews my life now and restores my peace. This is where it becomes indispensable to apply in your daily life what we call on the channel the code of primordial alignment. This method consists of canceling any suggestion of defeat the exact second it tries to cross the limits of your thoughts. When a physical symptom, a financial collection, or a word of discouragement reaches you, do not react on the material plane. Do not engage in arguments in your conscious mind. Withdraw for 3 seconds into the sanctuary of your soul and decree the presence of divine perfection. Think of the cinema projector metaphor. Your physical reality is merely the white screen where the movie is being displayed. If the movie shows scenes of disaster, scarcity, or fighting, it is useless to run to the cloth screen to try to tear the image with your hands. You must go to the inner projection room. You must change the film inside your subconscious mind before the light projects the scene into the world of the senses. When your soul calms down and accepts spiritual restoration as a present fact, your subconscious takes command of your restoration. Doors that seemed solidly locked open without a sound, pathways of healing take shape where there was only pain, and inner power resurfaces with the strength and beauty of a new dawn. Be with me every day here on the Subconscious Code channel and watch your own life transform and unlock as you follow these simple steps and apply the laws of the mind. When you take conscious control of your inner temple, you cease to be a dry leaf carried by the wind of circumstance and become the supreme master of your reality. There is a state of sacred quietude, an infinite calm, taking hold of every fiber of your being, the instant you finally understand that the universe does not demand your desperate struggle, nor your physical fatigue. The answer to every one of your prayers was already conceived on the plane of the Supreme Mind, even before your reason could articulate the first word. The reason so many people spend years imprisoned in the clutches of anxiety, financial scarcity, or emotional despair is that they insist on praying from the vibration of the problem itself. They try to bargain with the divine source, offering their tears, pain, and sweat as if they were bargaining chips. However, the infinite intelligence dwelling in your subconscious is an immutable, loving, and absolutely impersonal law. It never responds to anguish or the disordered supplication of doubt. It responds solely and exclusively to the law of your own subjective acceptance. When you learn to silence your physical senses and apply the decree of power in the half-sleep state with absolute serenity, the resistance of your intellect completely collapses. The knot of anxiety that tightened your chest dissolves like mist before the morning sun, and the invisible substance of life begins to mold external circumstances to reflect your internal victory. To pray scientifically is to align your soul with the perfect conclusion, resting in the unshakable feeling that what you decreed on the spiritual plane has already become an indisputable fact in matter. Approach this moment now with a calm, pacified heart, entirely purified of any resentment, fear, or haste. Disconnect from the demands of the day, drop your shoulders, relax your jaw, and feel the welcoming and protective presence of life, covering every inch of your being. We are going to perform at this exact instant a deep spiritual intervention, a sacred decree of liberation and peace to dissolve all the barriers of your subconscious. Breathe deeply and slowly. Let the air renew your energy, and as you exhale, surrender all accumulated anxiety to the Supreme Mind. You are safe. The Divine Presence is in absolute command of your life. Feel the words of scientific prayer penetrate the fertile soil of your deep mind like a blessed rain of restoration. Absorb every spiritual command with the unshakable certainty that transformation has already begun in the invisible. The infinite intelligence dwelling in my subconscious mind is the creative source of the entire universe, and it now dissolves, by the power of its silent presence, all blocks, limiting beliefs, and patterns of pain inscribed in my being. I recognize that divine restoration governs my mind, my body, and my financial life. All discord, fear, disease, and uncertainty are completely dissolved in the light of supreme truth. The wealth of the Creator flows into my reality in uninterrupted currents of opulence, peace, and prosperity. Money is a divine idea circulating freely in my experience, blessing my path and multiplying into infinite channels of utility and good. No barrier created by the physical world and no limitation imposed by men can halt the progress of my journey. Because infinite wisdom opens perfect pathways of victory where before there was only impossibility, I surrender my tomorrow, my finances, and my family to the unshakable protection of the Divine Mind. The peace that surpasses all understanding guards my heart, and I rest in the absolute certainty that everything is already accomplished on the plane of spiritual perfection. I give thanks for the liberation, internal clarity, and full restoration materializing now in my present reality. So it is, and so it shall be forever. Feel the authority of this decree echoing in the depths of your spirit. Doubt has been eradicated, and your subconscious has accepted the command of triumph. There is no force in the physical world capable of revoking the spiritual law you have just activated in your deep mind. Repeat now in the silence of your heart this absolute truth. Infinite intelligence supplies all my needs and restores my inner power now. Infinite intelligence supplies all my needs and restores my inner power now. Infinite intelligence supplies all my needs and restores my inner power now. You are not a limited or helpless being at the mercy of economic crises or world circumstances. You are the legitimate heir of divine wisdom, the living channel of supreme opulence, endowed with the immeasurable power to rewrite your reality through your deep mind. The blueprint of your victory has already been recorded in the depths of your being, and the Supreme Mind is aligning all events to deliver to you the sacred harvest of your faith. Be with me every day here on the Subconscious Code channel and watch your own life transform and unlock as you follow these simple steps. Subscribe now, leave your like, and share this message to strengthen your mind daily with the immutable laws of the Spirit. Before falling asleep tonight, as you lay your head on the pillow and feel your body relax completely, refuse any thought of concern or fear. Disconnect from the screens of the world, close your eyes in silence, place your right hand over the center of your chest, and gently repeat the divine word of power like a lullaby for your subconscious. Restoration, restoration, restoration. Fall asleep, lulled by this feeling of realized victory. It is in the blessed silence of your sleep that your subconscious will work to build a radiant, prosperous, and deeply fulfilled tomorrow. Go in peace. The Divine Mind guards your rest and illuminates your path.